Huh? Why doesn't the TV work? Oh, that's right.
Electricity and cars only work because of Elebits, you know. You wouldn't even be able to watch TV without them.
So, I guess this is all the Elebits' fault? But I don't want to pick them up with my bare hands. I know. I'll use Dad's capture gun.
Hello everyone, it's Matt Casamassina. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Wii channel, and we're going to take you through Elebits, one of the most interesting and unique titles to hit Nintendo's system this holiday. Elebits is one of those games that can probably be summed up by some people, let's call them the cynics really, as a tech demo, but really it's much more than that. Basically, you are a young kid who's controlling this capturing gun, and you're going through levels in first-person mode. The object is to manipulate everything in the world, move it around with this gravity gun, basically, and search out these little critters called Elebits. The interesting part is that the Elebits power the items around you. They're basically electrified. So if you've got a blender, it might be off, but when you collect enough Elebits, you'll turn it on. And it creates this careful balance, sort of a marriage between the gravity gun and the Elebits themselves. So you have to collect these Elebits in order to power the items, and then that can power up your gun, which lets you lift heavier items. Konami presents this theme with hand-drawn illustrations, which I think are actually pretty beautiful. The problem, though, is that the voice work is so awful that it's going to make you cringe. It often sounds like, really bad voice actors reading really bad dialogue, and you just want to get past it, but unfortunately these scenes stretch longer than they need to be.
Isn't he worried about me? Huh? What's that sound?
That, my dear boy, is the sound of parental neglect. Once you do get past the storyline, though, you're going to find a pretty fun game here that's engaging because it's so unique. Konami, unlike most third parties actually, has used the Wii remote to the fullest. So you've got a game that really feels like it was designed from the ground up to take advantage of Nintendo's controller, and that's a good thing. Basically, you use the Wii nunchuck to strafe around the world in first-person view, and then you control your gun. You can point in any direction with really pinpoint accuracy using the Wii remote. You can hit either the A button or the B trigger to zap your little gravity beam and pick up Elebits or throw stuff around. It feels really good, it feels really intuitive, and it's so pick up and play that you can literally in a few minutes here, you'll be tossing objects in the air and you'll have so much control over the gun that you'll be able to grab these items as they float across the screen in midair. All the physics are good and fine, but there actually is much more to this game than just throwing stuff around. Konami's actually hatched a bunch of puzzles that go hand in hand with the physics. So, for instance, you might have to pick up an item and put it into, say, a microwave, and then turn on the microwave to, activate some more Elebits, which you can collect. Or there's a lot more simple stuff too, where you're just going to have to open a door, and to do that you're going to have to point your gravity gun at the doorknob and then actually physically turn your Wii remote as if you're unlocking a door. Feels great, you'll pick it up really quickly, and I think it just works really well. The physics are impressive in that the objects have a real sense of weight and they interact with one another, so you can crash items into one another, you can stack them on top of each other, and so on. I think the problem though is that everything, regardless of size or density, you could have a car or you could have a flower pot, and they all have a very floaty, bouncy feeling to them. So even if you've got a diesel truck, for instance, and you throw it against a building, it's going to bounce off just like a ball would. In addition to some of the physics-based puzzles in the game, Konami's added an extra level of, I'd say, strategy by including a number of items such as Elebit cookies and various homing missile weapons that you can pick up. So, for instance, if you use the cookie, you'll actually draw Elebits out of cupboards and other areas where they would normally be hiding. You also have to watch out for bad guys who will, thrust forward at you, and eventually you can actually lose the game if you're not careful, and you can see in the footage we've done just that. With about 30 levels, the single-player romp is pretty good. They range in size from, say, 7 minutes to, upward of 20 minutes, so you're going to be spending some good time there. And I can tell you from experience, you probably aren't going to beat every level the first time through. One or two of them may give you some trouble. Beyond that, though, Konami's included a multiplayer mode where up to 4 players can go at it side by side, sort of in a Ghostbusters style Don't Cross the Streams event, although you really can cross the streams in this game. Each of you controls a gravity gun, and you sort of compete for points. You can manipulate items, you can collect Elebits, and that's basically the point of it. The first player controls the camera, and the remaining 3 control the guns. And, if you're playing with 2 players, this is actually going to work out pretty good, although it will get a little hectic. However, with 4 players and 4 beams running across the screen at a given moment, and not to mention objects flying through the air by the dozens, there's going to be just so much going on that you're not even going to be able to follow it all, and I think that's a disappointment. What's really exciting about the game is that it includes a bonus map editor And what this does is allows you to edit some of the 30 or so levels in the game. You can't create your own stages, unfortunately, but the templates they have are actually pretty good. And what you can do here is you can take the items you unlock and sprinkle them about the environments. You can create physics-based puzzles, actually. And you can also set the Elebits wherever you want them to be, and you can work with all that. Create your own stages, basically. However, what's really awesome is that you can trade all these created levels with your friends over WeConnect 24, and hats off to Konami. This is the first company to make use of that feature, and we're really looking forward to it. What you've seen in the cutscenes are some beautiful hand-drawn illustrations. Unfortunately, these do not translate to the game world in Elebits. Although the game presents a variety of levels from bedrooms to outside environments, with, cars flying in the air and everything else, it's also got a very basic, kind of blocky, simple look to it. And unfortunately, it's one of the most dithered games we've seen on Wii as well. On top of that, the frame rate suffers now and again, especially when you're in wide open environments with lots of physics-intensive calculations going on. On the bright side, it does support both 480 progressive scan and 16:9 widescreen modes for those of you who have high-definition televisions. I hope and pray that Elebits becomes a sleeper hit because it really deserves to be. It's one of these games that you can tell has been designed specifically for Nintendo's console, and it really plays like that. It's not a tech demo, it's actually much more than that, and I would recommend you guys give it a try. We've given it an 8.3 and an Editor's Choice Award. For the full written review, check out IGN.com.